We have some planets moving into some different signs, some planets getting to the critical degrees, of course, before they move into their new sign. We're talking about the week of March 4th. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you doing? This is G. We're going to look at a chart. We're going to look at some astrology. We have a week where Mercury is going to be a big deal. Mercury is in Pisces. Okay. It's Pisces season full swing because we've got Mercury in Pisces. We've got the sun in Pisces, but Mercury and the sun do their little thing, right? Where they kind of meet up. And so Mercury has now passed over the sun and it's trying to pull away from the sun, because when Mercury and the sun are together, remember that Kazemi stuff, that combust, we lose the power of our thinking. Well, the big deal about this is that it's Pisces energy. So normally Mercury representing your thoughts and your mind and your communications. So that's text messages, snail mail, email, me having the ability to talk to you, me having the ability to record a video, me being able to literally just do this and talk while I'm on the video, recording, even if it's actually recording. Maybe my brain and my mouth aren't matching, like the information isn't able to catch up to it, or vice versa, or things are really foggy, cloudy, blurry, fuzzy, Mercury. Yeah, we got Mercury, as in Mercury, Murky. Right, the murkiness. This is what we have going on when we have Mercury in Pisces. So that, fortunately, is almost the biggest story of this week. So compared to the last few weeks, I'll take it, because Mercury moves fast. So whatever the hell Mercury's going to bring us, it's going to move quickly and it's not such a huge deal. But there is a lot. Well, let me show you the chart so that you can see some of the angles that Mercury is going to face. Just remember, Neptune rules Pisces, right? And we have Neptune in Pisces, yes. And so as Mercury is trying to pull away from the sun, that means it's going to be getting closer to Neptune. Yeah. So then that's another what's going on with the communication. So remember, it's information and learning. That's Mercury. It's business, it's trade, it's the merchant, right? It's the salesperson. So we kind of got to be cautious when we're dealing with Mercury energy in Pisces, because if we're thinking of buying something, if we're talking to somebody, Pisces has that ability to give us that, I'm always talking about like the rose-colored glasses, right? And so it's having Saturn in Pisces has kind of helped. It's taken the rose-colored glasses off and it's kind of sobered up the Piscean energy. I say sobered up because Piscean can be like dreamy and fantasy and very idealistic, almost like utopian and perfection. And well, when we talk about things being in the material and the tangible, right? Like my favorite pen, my absolutely favorite pen, right? But is it perfect? Like this pen has a limited life, doesn't it? It's not going to always work. It will come to an end one day and it will no longer work for me. And it's like, oh, there's my pen, right? So in the material, in this world that we live in, there's ups and downs. There's sweet, there's salt, there's bitter, there's savory. We have it all. We have it all. And so anytime we get into our Pisces energy and where there's like a lot of it, so a lot of the planets are in it supporting it, because Neptune's been there for quite a while. So it's had a very strong influence. And Neptune, Neptune rules I know the heat's going on, so my hair starts to get really just gets yeah, starts driving me absolutely bonkers. We had decent weather. I know I'm kind of going off track, but we had some, when I say decent, we had 50 degrees in February. 50, I think it was above 50. I was like crazy. Yeah, no coats. I was like, this is insane. Anyway, now it's below. I think we're going to have below freezing overnight tonight, which is fine. This is how it's supposed to be. So Pisces, fantasy, dreamy, make believe. We think of TV and movie stars, actors, actresses. We think of public figures, authority, but authority in terms of politicians, people who are, oh, possibly in Congress, presidents, vice presidents, people who are in politics, and people who used to be political figures, all in the United States news, and the whole world is watching. So I don't need to say anything more. We all know what I'm talking about. And Jupiter, prevalent. Jupiter rules Pisces. It's one of the ancient rulers. Yes, I did say Neptune rules Pisces, but the ancient ruler is Jupiter. So we consider both of them. We talk and make sure that we always remember both of them because this is beliefs. It's judges, the judicial system, but it's beliefs. So it's the courtroom, but it's beliefs. It's religion, but it's beliefs. My philosophy on life, but it's beliefs. Yeah. Yeah. Higher learning, wisdom. And with that wisdom, we're going to share my new favorite quote. And yeah, it's from Charlie Chan. Sometimes we need to follow um what's the quote? His quote was silence is the big sister to wisdom. Silence, the big sister to wisdom. So less of this sometimes and more observing and staying quiet and paying attention and likely possibly getting the full picture then, right? And because many times our ears are so open now. We're like never before has humans lived where we've got this information and it's always with us and we're always on. It's always on. We sleep with the damn thing and it's like as soon as we get up it's the first thing you grab for, right? And so we're really tuned in to the moving pictures and the sound. Pisces, this is all Pisces, the moving pictures and the sound. Yeah. So drama is Pisces. Theatrics is Pisces. What's going on over there? What's the story? I like a good story. Is it real? Is it make believe, right? Fiction, nonfiction? How do we discern the difference? So we're learning that it might be up there on that big screen, but it doesn't make it the real thing, right? So Pisces is rhyming, by the way. Pisces is rhyming. It's music, it's sound, it's substances, which is why we're under the influence of Piscean energy, right? So we can intellectually we have like our rose-colored glasses on, so we're not seeing clearly. We think we see the facts, and we're like, even if we are seeing them, we are seeing them through our own lens, our own whatever sort of a energy we got around us that kind of colors everything that we look at. Somebody looks at the sky and says, "Oh wow, look at that tone of blue. It is amazing." Or you're looking at clouds and someone's like, "Oh my god, look at I can see like a dolphin in the sky." Somebody else looks at it and they're like, "What are you talking about?" Like there ain't no damn dolphin up in the sky. Are you crazy? Everybody's perception is so different, right? But the trick is we're trying to figure out between the fact and the crap, which one's the truth and which one's not. So it's tricky. And that's what happens when you have Mercury in Pisces. So let's throw the chart up and we'll take a look at what's going to happen when Mercury not only is in Pisces, but gets a square to it while it's in Pisces. And we're going to see what it squares and we're going to get the dates to find out when this is going to be because your phone, your tablets, communications, conversations, networking. Yeah, there might be a few days in there where it's like, oh, this is crap, right? So we'll see. Let's take a look at this chart. With Mercury, talking and information, but your brain and thinking, the way you think. I know I mentioned fogginess in the brain, possibly, but Mercury also represents learning what we want to learn about. So it influences your interests and the things where you're like, ooh, what's that? Your curiosity, that's Mercury. When you're curious about something, think Mercury, right? And so with Mercury traveling through the Piscean energy, that means showbiz, music, musicians, and likely news about those people and public figures because Mercury is the news, right? So we think, again, I mentioned already politics. We're not going to give them any more of our time, but For the US, there is an election coming up. And so this is a big deal, right? All this kind of stuff actually matters, especially when you've got, different political parties, and the primaries coming up, and just a whole, this would be like commercials on television, and you know how that goes, trash talking other opponents and whatever. So let's get to the chart already. We have Pandora's box here. You see this? Yeah, yikes. Pandora's box is it's kind of like the can of worms I refer to it as. Well, it hovers around 29 degrees of Aries for a few days. 29 degrees of Aries for a few days, and then goes into Taurus. So that happens this week. Yep. That happens this week. And let's back this baby up and we'll get the bigger picture. So I already said it. This is the week of March 4th. And I don't think I have it written down at the end of this chart, but don't let me forget to mention the new moon. There'll just be a quick mention about it here. Actually, I'll just mention it here. What the hell? We're going to have a new moon, and the new moon is going to be in Pisces. Yeah, we're going to have a new moon in Pisces. It's at the end of the week. So I'm not trying to confuse you. I have dates written down. The new moon doesn't happen until the end of the week, right? And we'll put the date of the new moon. And I believe it's on a Sunday. So the 10th, depending upon where you live in the world. I believe it's going to be the 9th/10th because of the time of the new moon. But there is a separate video for the new moon. And likely you will see the new moon video before you see this video. So that way we're covered. Everybody has kind of already gotten a clear idea of what the new moon will entail and the degrees that it'll be at. Yep. Let's start off at the beginning of the week, March 4th to the 11th. Okay. So you see right there, I've got March 4th to the 9th written down. And a lot actually happens in this 5-day period. I know the beginning of the video, I didn't make it sound all of that exciting. I said Mercury was the only thing that's going to be really exciting, or the main story anyway. Because we have Mars squaring Uranus. Yep, Mars squaring Uranus. Okay. There's that window from March 4th to March 9th. They're in a tight T-square. All right, so let's go take a peek at it over here. Let's see if we can find it. Uranus is in Taurus energy. There it is. There's Uranus, 1941. You see that? 1941. Okay. So at the beginning of this week, we've got Mars, I think, starting off around 15, 1555 to be exact. Okay. And it's in a fixed sign. It's in Aquarius. So we've got Uranus and Taurus. Taurus is our values, our money, the banking, the earth itself, right? The earth itself. Do we value the earth? Is she one of your values? Creature comforts. What are your creature comforts, right? Taurus energy is all about the food, loves the earth. So that includes the vegetables, the grass, the dirt, the food, the animals, the gold, the precious metals that are excavated from the planet, right? And you think of Taurus's polar opposite, Scorpio, something that you drill down to get, black gold, Scorpio, right? Yeah, that's the drill. So you see in this chart, I have drawn up the square. You can already see it. It's that red line between Mars at 1555 and Uranus at 19. Okay, so we're just going to highlight it again with the green because that's the color I'm using right now. Even though the red's already there, you can see it. And what is that going to mean? Because this is fixed energy. This is fixed energy. Uranus can be an authority figure, someone in charge of the money, someone in charge of the interest rates, right? This can be your mom or your dad in your life, the boss at the job. It can be because it's the person in charge. It's someone who's going to challenge you. And at the same time, you will challenge them right back because that's Uranus energy. It's the rebel. It can go to extremes really quickly in Taurus energy because it's over our values. Uranus says, but we need to evolve. We need to change. We need to let go of what we used to value. And Taurus energy just says, oh, hell no. I want the way it used to be. I want the way it used to be, right? It's the first earth sign of all the earth energies. We think of Taurus, we think of Virgo, we think of Capricorn. This is very much about farming and agriculture, right? And so some of my subscribers on the other side of the world, I forget where they're from, so forgive me. You know who you are. You've commented to me some details about where you live, and in your country, there's people who are doing protests because they want healthy food. Healthy food. They're protesting. They're protesting for a healthy food. Isn't that awesome? Instead of manufactured and highly processed food, which would be Uranus, the inventions, the highly processed food. Right. So that's a really great example. I wish I could remember who said that. It was a phenomenal example of Uranus and Taurus, the revolutions that have to do with our traditional earthy values and our creature comforts. But Taurus is our sustenance. It is our food, and it's how we breathe and live and eat, and how we just function. Without the food, we die, right? Absolutely. So that kicks off this week, actually. It's Mars squaring Uranus. Okay. Now, Mars and Uranus aren't at the exact degrees yet, but we also have Mars conjunct Chariklo. Mars is conjunct Chariklo, and Chariklo is that little strange looking symbol right there. And so that's somebody who witnesses others who are going through pain, who are having a hard time, who are wounded. That's Chariklo, the wife of Chiron. And we think of Aquarius energy. And that's what makes this so volatile is it's Mars and Aquarius. When you take this combination, Mars, the actions of my body, I have a very short temper. I am quick to anger. I usually carry a weapon. And then we talk about group energy, Aquarius, but it's like lightning bolt. It's really fast. So the combination of Mars and Aquarius is a time where I am extra cautious when I'm in group energy. And so that may cause some conundrums, even streaming and online, because that's Aquarius, the internet and streaming. Yep, that's Aquarius energy. And there could be some combativeness because it's Mars squaring Uranus in Taurus, right? It can be combative, it can be difficult. Okay. So at the degrees, they get really tight. Once we get to the 9th, is when they're like in an exact, really tight square, stress and tension. Mars will be then at 19. Now, while this is going on, we have on the 5th, you see what I have written there for the 5th? I have Black Moon Lilith. Black Moon Lilith on the 5th. She enters Virgo. So that means the day before, on the 4th, that means the day before on the 4th, Black Moon Lilith would have been at 29 degrees of the sign right before Virgo. I know, I'm messing with you. What is the sign right before Virgo? I'm going to show you. You know the answer. Put it in the comments. I mean, you can never comment too much, guys. Every comment helps. Every time you make a comment under the video, whether it's to say hello to me, it tells the algorithm you're engaged, you're watching, and you're interested. And it helps me. It helps the channel. It helps me to continue doing what I'm doing. So humor me. If you feel like Jesus, G, we know the answers to this shit. For some of you, sure. Some of you are old pros at this. Some of you might be brand new. And I love having the new people. Love, love, love it. The sign before Virgo is, you see it? Yep. It's Leo. I'm going to draw it in green. You see the symbol of Leo right there? Yeah. So that means on the 4th, Black Moon Lilith, 29 degrees, because she had done a retrograde and she went all the way back to Leo. And now she's going forward again. She's not retrograding anymore. She's actually going to ingress back into Virgo. And That's powerful as well. Do you see why it's powerful? Yeah, because we have Regulus in Virgo. Regulus, a fixed star in the sky, a very powerful fixed star. Someone who's like the boss energy, but like the big, big boss. Like I'm the boss of the universe kind of energy. I'm the king of the jungle, but I'm the king of the universe. Yeah. So in Virgo, we're going to have Regulus and Black Moon Lilith on the 5th. So the 4th was Black Moon Lilith in Leo. On the 5th, we've got Black Moon Lilith in Virgo, conjunct Regulus. So all the Virgo keywords become highlighted. And we think of our health. We think of health care. We think of our daily routines. We think of work, like the job I go to, the projects, the tasks. It could be your coworkers too. We also think of our health, the health of our tasks and our projects and our day-to-day routines, but literally the health of ourselves, of our body. This is very earthy energy because it's Virgo. It likes the details, the minutia. It's a critical thinker. If it's overly critical, well, then it gets overly critical because it's striving for perfection. It can go to the opposite of Virgo, which is Pisces. So it's really idealistic and it strives for perfection. And sometimes it strives for something that as human beings, it may not actually be a reality. It might not be possible. We're striving for something we're never going to be able to achieve. Shooting for the stars type of thing, or shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you're still among the stars, right? And that's the kind of reminder for all of us with our Virgo energy. But nursing, home healthcare aides, Virgo energy, 0 degrees. It's grounded. It is holistic. So we think of alternative healing modalities when we talk about Virgo energy. Okay. And so having Black Moon Lilith conjunct the 0 degree Regulus mark, let's see what we have in the chart. If there's going to be anything else that is going to set us up. I did start the beginning of the video off talking about, yep, this, I call it my can of worms. This is considered, I think, like Pandora. It's what it says in the software. It doesn't say Pandora's box, but it's kind of the same story where you open it up. And actually, the software was it was kind of dark, I'm trying to spell Pandora. I know I used to be able to spell, and now I'm like, I can't believe I can't spell certain things sometimes. I just kind of like, I'm embarrassed by it. So Pandora, we open it up, and it says, once you open it, you let out all the evils of the world. Whoa. That's, I don't know. That just sounds horrible to me. But here's the flip side to it. It's like you go into your kid's room and you find something you were hoping to God you weren't going to find type of thing, but you find it and you're able to figure out a plan of how to handle it. And that's Virgo. It's really practical and tangible. And it says, okay, let's take the steps. Let's figure out how to do this. It's not in its feelings. It's logical. It's practical. And it is about something and someone that we value because it's Pandora spending a couple of days at 29 in Aries and then getting to 0 degrees in Taurus, which means you've got Pandora trining. Pandora will create a beautiful, sweet trine to the Regulus and Black Moon Lilith. Now, I'm right there with you. Pandora and Black Moon Lilith in a trine. That sounds like a messy setup. That sounds, because Black Moon Lilith is normally just the shadow side, something we don't want to own. It's usually a negative thing until we learn how to deal with it. And Pandora, I think, is the same thing. So these being at 0 degrees, there might have to be something with banking. There might be something with money and the regulation. Could be insurances and shared values even, and natural resources and the earth. There might be some of that happening. There might be the connection between because the opposite of Taurus is Scorpio. So there might be that connection between healthcare and insurance because look, you got Humea in Scorpio at 153. Now she's been here. And she's not at 0, right? She's like at 2 degrees. But look, if you've got Regulus at 0 and Black Moon Lilith at 0, there's a good possibility that we're hearing about something, right? That the news is going to bring us something. And you heard me talking about the news in the beginning. That's why I focused on Mercury so much, because chances are, if we look over here, chances are, when we hear about things in Pisces, Mercury in Pisces, it sometimes might be fantastical and wonderful, or it could be so hard to believe that we think it's made up, right? It can go both ways. Well, on the 4th, you see Mercury is conjunct Hygeia. Yeah. On the 4th, Mercury is conjunct Hygeia. Well, who's Hygeia? This is Hygeia right here. Hygeia is at 21 degrees. Okay. So Mercury's going to move along and she's going to catch up to Hygeia. And they'll be, well, they're already aspecting because she's at 19 and this is 21. So that's why I have on the 4th, pay attention. Seems like the beginning of this week, there might be a lot of things we're hearing about, when we think of Pisces, because Pisces is also hospitals and healing institutions. So that's it's kind of sort of a theme that's going on here, because we also have Mars in group energy. We also have Venus in group energy. You see? So we'll see what's going to happen. We'll see how this is going to look exactly. But by the end of the week, this Mercury is going to pull ahead and it'll be conjunct Neptune. And you heard me already talk about this at the beginning, which is we're being cautious with the information that we're hearing about. But again, that is not until the end of the week. All right. So to take us back a little bit, let's back up over here. Let me get an arrow that I've already drawn. Yeah, Black Moon Lilith. Now, on the 6th, we have Jupiter trining Juno. Jupiter is in Taurus. It's in Earth. Juno is in Virgo, another Earth sign. So there's a theme of Earth energy here that's happening. And again, I think the jobs report, I think our values, I think banking, I think money, and likely hearing something to that effect. Okay. Here's the 7th when I talked about Pandora, right? Pandora enters Taurus on the 7th. On the 7th, Taurus has now Pandora at 0 degrees, and you get that trine that we spoke about and that I pointed out between Regulus. Yeah, Regulus, Black Moon Lilith. Actually, she's pretty fast. Black Moon Lilith is kind of on the fast side. So in reality, is she going to be sitting there at, what do I have her at? On the 5th, right. She's already going to be moved along by the 7th because she's so fast moving. So it's really just a Regulus factor. So you just think Earth, think jobs report, think being like the health of like there will likely be a jobs report. Right. If you're an economist, if you follow any of the money channels, I call them, and you watch whether it's Yahoo News for investing or anything like that, they give you all these reports. You can hear all the reports. You can hear their breakdown and all that stuff. And all that goes into better understanding the economy and inflation and setting interest rates and blah, 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 blah. Too much for me to talk about here. And then real quickly, because there's so much over there in the earth, look at all that we have in Cappy. Yeah. At the beginning of the week, at the very beginning of the week, you have the moon. Matter of fact, did I even write that down? I didn't, because it's just the moon. And I thought, well, that's kind of silly. But you see the big trine I have drawn in the chart? Yeah. I've got the moon at 0 degrees in Cappy, also trining Regulus at 0 degrees in Virgo. Yep. And then trining the 0 degrees in Taurus. Right. Trining the 0 degrees in Taurus. So there's still a lot of strong support for Earth, which is stabilizing energy. Even as crazy as things that we're hearing about how crazy things are, there's still a lot of support for very stabilizing energy. Now, we go over to the 8th, and this is where Mercury comes in and starts to be more of a factor. We've got the 8th, we've got Mercury conjunct Neptune. Neptune is like at 27 degrees here, okay? One of the things I'm loving about this is that Mercury's pulling away from the sun. Mercury's pulling away from the sun. We need for Mercury to pull away from the sun because other than Mercury being in Pisces, anytime it's close to the sun, like I talked about in the beginning, it weakens our brain power, our ability to think clearly and to communicate clearly. When we got Mercury in Pisces, it's a really creative energy. It's more about sound and music. It's more about let's paint, let's have some wine, let's escape, right? Or I'm a little sleepy or foggy, or even though I'm awake, I feel like I'm sleepwalking or something. Our thoughts might be just, yeah, we might even hear, sometimes you get like, I got this song in my head. Yeah, that's Mercury in Pisces. I got a song in my head. And I got Taffy at the door right now. So here is Mercury conjunct conjunct Neptune at 27 degrees. Now, the bigger picture with this is there's a square. And it's a powerful one because we already know that Mercury in Pisces, in Neptune, doesn't do so well. But it's also squaring the galactic center at 27. And we also have acumen at 26 here. And I know there's 2 acumens on the charts. So let me read that other acumen. The galactic center is a powerful point, by the way, in Saggy. So you think Jupiter, because these are all in Sagittarius that are squaring Mercury and Neptune. So think Supreme Court, think the judicial system, think the judges, think the courtroom, right? Think beliefs, think foreigners, think the foreign aid policy, think the border because it has to do with foreigners and that whole hot mess of government where they don't want to take care of things or whatever. So we've got this big T square. Remember Jupiter's beliefs, folks. Remember that. Okay. So for some folks, this can show up to just be a confusing time. All right. And the T square to that, if you have anything in Virgo at 27, do you have anything in Gemini at 27? If you have anything at 27 in the mutable signs on the 8th, but I would say even sooner, I would say Mercury's going to start aspecting Neptune in Pisces, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, you're feeling it. Okay. Things are getting a little fuzzy. So we're not signing documents. We're not making any major purchases. We're being smart. All right. Now we go back down here and we go to the 10th. I've got it written in. I've got Mercury, the moon, and Aries. All right. Which means we have Mercury. Because if Mercury is at 27 degrees on the 8th, that means that by the 10th, Mercury goes into Aries. So on the 9th, that means Mercury is at 29 degrees of Pisces. 29 degrees of Pisces. Now, normally 29 degrees is a critical degree, and we're always like, oh no, what is that going to mean, right? Well, we think of the Pisces keywords, fantasy, sci-fi, movies, movie stars, musicians, rock stars, Hollywood, sleep and dreams, substances, alcohol, political figures, public figures. Like that's all Pisces stuff. People who have a lot of wealth because they just look like rock stars. So these can be people who have a lot of money as well. And 29 degrees, it's not going to last long. It's going to be pretty quick. But you might have issues with devices. I know sometimes I have a really difficult time uploading stuff, or when I'm editing, my devices won't work and things get really mumbo jumboed. And so that makes it really difficult. But what will happen is the very next day, you've got the 10th, the moon that is sitting here, this same moon that's at the beginning of this week on the 4th in Capricorn. By the 10th, hello, Taffy, By the 10th, the moon is now over here. Oh, Lord. The moon is now at 0 degrees in Aries along with Mercury. They enter at the same time. These are both fast movers. So in my mind, I think this is a big deal. It's a cardinal sign. So if you have anything in the cardinal signs, and the cardinal signs are Cancer energy and Libra energy and Capricorn energy, because the moon and Mercury together, Mercury is the news, communication, and information, and the moon can be your family and home. So when I first saw this, I heard things about the housing market, but maybe real estate, because that's also Mercury, real estate in general, businesses and the stock market, right? That's Mercury as well. And then the moon, other than my home and family and mom energy and feminine energy, maybe women, it's also the public, right? So we've got like this other story happening that might be a little bit more powerful, because we know that Pluto is sitting at 1 degrees, 118. See Pluto at 118? And we know Pluto's pretty slow. So this means that the moon and Mercury are going to receive a sextile from Pluto. So that's group energy. That's group energy. And that can be social causes. Yep. So we're going to put them there at 0 degrees. And this means that they're going to be connecting with Pluto, a direct connection with Pluto. And we're going to hear about it because it's the news. And this is a sextile. And usually it brings an ease of some sort, or I should say, this thing we're hearing about, it just kind of happens. And Aries, let's just remember, Aries is Mars. So I think weapons. I think weapons. I think war. I think my physical body, body autonomy, the rights of my body. So possibly hearing judgments or new rulings in court cases in the US and maybe somewhere else in the world, which I don't know enough about. So you tell me the world news where you live. But the public or feminine energy, that's a hot ticket, hot button item here in the United States. Females' rights of their bodies, and to do with their bodies what they want, and the insurance companies and the medical, like that's a whole big thing. That takes us then, the new moon is on the 10th. So it's a new moon in Pisces, and I believe it's at, if you haven't seen that video, I'll be sure to link it below for you. But what's kind of fascinating about that is that's where Humea is. And I kind of started talking about them at the beginning of this video. I said Mercury and Humea would be conjunct. So that's kind of a foreshadowing moment for sure. A foreshadowing moment. Because remember, when the new moon occurs, like on the 10th, this Mercury has just entered Aries with the moon. Remember? Remember what I said down here? On the 10th, yep, on the 10th, these two are together. The moon and Aries and Mercury. Okay. However, earlier in the week, we had this Mercury conjunct Humea at 21 degrees, right near the 20-degree new moon. And I'll draw that line to represent the new moon. So now what is the new moon going to represent? Well, what does Humea represent? Mercury is the news, and Humea is all about a health report card. It's basically what it is. It's the health report card. So having it in Pisces, think of all those Pisces keywords, possibly political figures, public figures, possibly hearing about the health of our favorite performer or entertainer or musician or actor or actress, right? Some news likely about, just think of anything with Pisces, fantasy stories, sci-fi. Yeah, I keep like repeating myself and it gets old, but Neptune would be the next thing you go to understand it better. But Neptune is in Pisces. So it can include our beliefs, the health report card of our beliefs possibly, but I also got to think like healing institutions. Again, healing institutions comes up. So possibly hospitals, possibly healthcare, doctors, and nurses, Pisces energy. So not just the public figures and the people who are on the cameras all the time, but people who are literally working within those institutions. This is, by the way, also, I never mention it, but Pisces is prisons. Yep, Pisces is prisons. And I usually never mention it because I have so much in the 12th house. And anytime I picked up a book, they had not one positive word about the 12th house. And I just thought, holy shit, there's got to be some good. So Pisces can be protective. It can be the angel wings because it's Jupiter and it's Neptune. It can be that divine love. You know how you feel when you listen to music, right? It's otherworldly. There are certain songs you can listen to and it makes you feel in a way that yeah, you just wish you could hold it. You wish you could wrap it around you. Like that's Neptune, that's Pisces. Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful energy. But at the same time, it can be illusions, delusions, and conspiracy theories. You see, it's a wonderful creative energy. Think of all those musicians. Think of the actors and the actresses and their ability to do what they do. Right? Like you're watching them. You're watching them. They're the living, breathing artistry of life when they're making those performances. New moon at 20 degrees in Pisces, while Mercury is at 0 degrees in Aries. Let me know what you think this is going to be. Let me know if you have anything at the 0 degrees in the cardinal signs. Let me know, do you have anything at 20 degrees at the new moon? You could even do 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 degrees in Pisces to be conjunct the new moon. Yeah. Remember, new moons are times of setting your intentions. So go watch that video. I'm going to give you more of the details. I'll have the time on there and intention setting time along with the time of day that the new moon actually happens at. Taffy said, give me both hands. Give me both hands. All right, Taffy. I'm signing off. Thank you for your time. And I will see you in the next video. Take care. Yeah. Did you hear Taffy say that?